Good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Happy Spirit Week. Spirit Week kind of helps things be a little more fun during distance learning. As you can see, today is sports day. Wearing my Kareem jersey right here. Tomorrow is Disney Day, so sports day isn't your thing. Maybe Disney Day is. Right now, and I've already told you this, if you have not finished the two assessments, the ACE assessment for language arts and the timeline assessment for social studies, I want you to pause this video right now and go do those two things. Okay, so please do not watch this video before you have finished the assessments from last Friday, because we are moving on now, but I don't want you moving on without doing those things. Okay, so our very first order of business today is our book talk. Today's book talk is Ghost Boys by Jewel Parker Rhodes. When you guys were probably like about first grade, maybe second, Jewel Parker Rhodes came to Stone Ridge. And I don't know if she came to any other surrounding schools, but she came to Stone Ridge as a visiting author. And at that time, you guys were a little young for her books, but now you're the perfect age for them. So Ghost Boys is probably my favorite book that she's written. It's about a 12-year-old boy who is playing with a fake gun, and the police see him and they think it's real. They end up shooting and killing him. So this is actually based on a true story of something that happened like this a few years ago. So the little boy, he becomes a ghost. And while he's a ghost, he's visited by other ghosts of the past. And he has an kind of an eye on what's going on in the scene and how different people are reacting to his death and what has happened. So it's a really good book to kind of understand what's going on in the world today and in the different aspects of racism that led us to this point. So highly recommend it. It's a really good book. That's that. Okay, so today we are going to talk about a story that we're going to read in your Springboard books. And I know some of you are pretty excited to start the Springboard books. And this story is actually an amazing one that I love. It's from a book by the same name as the story that we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about this story. We're going to talk about narrative writing. And then we're also going to review the ACE strategy, which is a way that we're to answer questions effectively. All right, so that's for language arts today. So I'm going to go over here. So today we're going to be talking about The Circuit by Francisco Jimenez. Just a little introduction to this. The Circuit is about migrant farm workers in kind of central to southern central California. And I read this book about, I would say it was about, oh my goodness, like 10 years ago. And when I read it, right after I read it, I went to a graduation party for my sister-in-law. That is my husband's sister. She is graduating from UC Santa Barbara. And while I was there, I met one of my husband's friends from like childhood. They went to school together and stuff. And his name is Curtis Jimenez. So I'm talking to Curtis and I'm like, oh yeah, I just read this book called The Circuit by Francisco Jimenez. And long story short, Francisco Jimenez is his uncle, and Curtis's father is one of the, I think he was the youngest brother. I think his name's Robert. Okay, so I haven't read it for a long time, but I'm excited to read it with you guys again. But anyway, it was just interesting because this is a real family and who really lived like this and things like that. And it was just really cool to meet the nephew of the author of this story. So when we read it in class, we'll talk more about that. But it's just kind of neat when real life collides with what we're reading. All right, so the narrative, The Circuit is based on real events, but what makes a narrative? It's still a narrative. A narrative can be a story, like a totally made up story, or a story based on real events. Generally, a narrative includes elements such as characters, dialogue, and a setting, and events or actions that lead to and follow a conflict. Okay, so authors often use the narrative form to write about changes in their lives, the lives around them, and in the world. In The Circuit, author Francisco Jimenez uses events from his own childhood to write about how change affects a Mexican boy and his immigrant family. Okay. So again, when we have a narrative, it can be a personal narrative, which is based on your own life experiences, or it can be a totally made up story. So when we read, we often set a purpose for reading. And as you guys know, what we're kind of studying right now is change. So as we read, and we're going to start the story tomorrow, I want you to put a star next to the changes that the narrator and his family experience. Okay, and again, that'll be tomorrow. I'll remind you. I want you to circle unknown words and phrases. Try to determine their meaning using context clues. Context clues are the best thing ever. Word parts or a dictionary. Okay, and then also in the back of your mind, just keep in mind what we talked about last week, which is the ACE strategy for answering questions. So when we use the ACE strategy, that means we are using the text to help us answer our questions. So when we first start the ACE strategy, we answer the question being asked. And always remember to do that in a complete sentence. You may need to reread the question, and that's perfectly okay. When answering, try to restate the question in your answer, okay? And you can do that easily by answering in a complete sentence. Then, after you've answered the question, excuse me, you're going to cite evidence from the text. You're going to use evidence to support your answer. So that's the important thing about the ACE strategy, is using the evidence to support your answer. You gave an answer, now show why you think that that is the correct answer with evidence from the text. Then the E, you're going to explain your answer. You're going to show how the evidence that you found in the text explains your answer and helps you to answer that. How does the evidence from the story support your answer? Okay, and again, we're going to be working through that together this week. So go ahead and know that. All right, so really quickly, that is kind of language arts for today. So your homework is to read for 25 minutes. Okay, that's the only homework you have right now. I want you to go ahead and take a break. Social studies is going to be pretty short today. We're just going to talk about what we did last week. So I want you to take a pause and go ahead and stretch, get a drink of water, do what you need to do, and then you'll come back for social studies. So just push pause on this video and be back in a second. Okay, so we are back in action. Hopefully is doing some tricky stuff. So on Friday, we took a timeline quiz. Okay, and so we studied about a timeline, then we took our assessment. So I graded all the assessments last night that had been turned in already, and you should have had it turned in by now, or you should not be watching this right now. When I graded them, I did a couple of different things. I wrote on your quiz, like if something was incorrect or you needed to explain more, and made my writing red so that you could easily see it. I also wrote you notes in the comment section. For the most part, you guys did really well. I said that you could use your notes and the slideshow when you took that quiz, but some of you would write in the quiz, oh, I forgot. So if you forget something, go back and look at your notes if that's something that you have available to you. So something that I learned from grading your quiz is that you guys really need to make sure you use your resources. Okay, if things are there for you to use, then you need to make sure that you're using them. Okay, and then another common mistake that I saw is a lot of people, when asked what was chronological order, it said you put things in order. But the most important part of that is that you put things in time order. There's a ton of different ways to put things in order. You can put them in ABC order. You can put them in color order. All of these different things, but you need to make sure that you understand chronological order is time order. Another thing is when you have the chance to write a question where you have like a writing prompt, make sure you really develop your idea and write something substantial. And then after you do that, make sure that you are using your tools like spell check and make sure you are punctuating and capitalizing correctly, because all of those things help to reflect your answer. Okay, so make sure that you are doing all of those things. For the rest of social studies this week, oops, that's last week. What we're doing, dang it, sorry. What we're doing is we're not doing a ton of social studies this week. We're doing digital citizenship. So that is how to be a good citizen online, how to use the internet and computers safely and kindly, and using your minds and your brains. So anyway, that is what we are going to be doing in social studies this week. So you're not gonna have a lot of work or homework, so that's awesome. And that's about it. So enjoy the rest of your short Monday. I will see you guys tomorrow.